Inventory is a stock or store of goods. The objective of inventory management is to strike a balance between inventory investment and customer service. Why inventory is important? Inventory is one of the most expensive assets of many companies, representing as much as 50% of total invested capital. Having less inventory lowers costs, however, it increases chances of running out. More inventory raises costs, but it keeps customers happy. What about the function of inventory? To provide a selection of goods for anticipated demand and to separate the firm from fluctuations in demand. To decouple or separate various parts of the production process. To take advantage of quantity discounts. To hedge against inflation. Now let's see the types of inventory. Raw material. For material that already purchased but not processed. Work in process, or WIP, for material that undergone some change but not completed, or a function of cycle time for a product. Maintenance, repair, operating, MRO, to keep machinery and processes productive. Goods in transit to warehouses or customers. Finished goods, for completed product awaiting shipment. For control of service inventories can be a critical component of profitability. Losses may come from shrinkage or pilferage. Applicable techniques include good personal selection, training and discipline, tight control of incoming shipments, effective control of all goods leaving facility. There are two inventory models. It's independent demand, if the demand for item is independent of the demand for any other item in inventory, and dependent demand, if the demand for item is dependent upon the demand for some other item in the inventory. For inventory models, there are costs we need to know. First, holding cost, the cost of holding or carrying inventory over time. Ordering cost, the cost of placing an order and receiving goods. Setup cost, cost to prepare a machine or process for manufacturing an order. This cost may be highly correlated with setup time. In this case, we will talk about inventory models for independent demand only. Now, let's move to inventory models for independent demand. When we have a store, we need to determine when and how much to order for the stock. For that, we can use basic economic order quantity, EOQ model. Important assumptions for basic EOQ model are demand is known, constant, and independent. Lead time is known and constant. Receipt of inventory is instantaneous and complete. Quantity discounts are not possible. Only variable costs are set up or ordering and holding. Stockouts can be completely avoided. This graphic about inventory usage over time. The graph of inventory usage over time has a sawtooth shape. We start out with an order quantity, Q, that will arrive at one time when an order is received. The inventory level along with the usage rate will deplete until zero. Because demand is constant over time, inventory drops at a uniform rate over time. We need to make sure that a replenishment order Q will arrive just as we fully deplete. Then, start the cycle over. Each time the inventory is received, the inventory level again jumps to Q units. Meanwhile, the average inventory on hand is Q divided by 2. How are we minimizing total cost? By minimizing the sum of setup or ordering and holding costs, total costs are minimized. Optimal order size Q** will be the quantity that minimizes total cost. A reduction in either cost reduces the total cost. Optimal order quantity occurs when holding cost and setup cost are equal. Andy, a businessman from a stationery company who handling shipment every month to office at town, now he wants to minimize costs so he can have more profits. And this is how Andy find annual inventory cost. Q is for number of units per order. Q** is for the optimal number of units per order, or EOQ. D is for annual demand units for the inventory item. S is for setup or ordering costs for each order. H is for holding or carrying cost per unit per year. To find annual setup cost, you need number of orders placed per year multiplied by setup or ordering cost per order. To get the number of orders per year, you have to divide annual demand by the number of units in each order. And for annual holding cost, you need an average inventory level multiplied by holding cost per unit per year, or order quantity divided by 2 multiplied by holding cost per unit per year. When annual setup cost equals annual holding cost, Andy will find optimal order quantity for his stationery business. So we have Q* formula. Let's see how we can use EOQ on Andy business. First, we will find optimal number of quantity to order. Andy have 1,000 units demand. Setup for each order costs $10, and holding cost each unit per year is 50 cents. Let's use the formula before. Then we will get 200 units. So Andy need to order 200 units if he want to optimal number to order. Second, the expected number of orders per year Andy need to do. Andy have 1,000 units demand. Setup for each order costs $10. Holding cost each unit per year is 50 cents. And we already get the optimal number to order is 200 units. Let's use formula for the expected number of orders. So we will get 5 orders per year Andy need to do. Third, optimal time Andy need between orders. Andy have 1,000 units demand. Setup for each order costs $10. Holding cost each unit per year is 50 cents. The optimal number to order is 200 units. And we have the expected number of orders by 5 order year. Let's use formula for expected time between orders. So we will get 50 days between orders for Andy's stationery business. Fourth, to determine the total of Andy business annual cost. Like before, Andy have 1,000 units demand. Setup for each order costs $10. Holding cost each unit per year is 50 cents. The optimal number to order is 200 units. Expected number of orders by 5 order year. And for optimal time need between orders is 50 days. So if we want to determine the total annual cost, we need to add setup cost plus his holding cost like the formula. So we will get $100 for total annual cost for Andy business. Last is for the EOQ model when including actual cost of material P. The formula is total annual cost equals setup cost plus holding cost plus production cost. The EOQ model is robust. It works even if all parameters and assumptions are not met. The total cost curve is relatively flat in the area of the EOQ. Let's move to an example. If Andy wants to determine optimal number of quantity to order, but he has 1,500 units demand instead of 1,000 units. Setup cost for each order $10. Holding cost each unit per year is 50 cents. Expected number of orders is 5 order year. When Andy has 1,000 demand, the optimal number to order is 200 units every 50 days. And for 1,500 units, the optimal number to order is 244.9 units. Now we will see total annual cost for old Q*, and we get $125 for 1,000 demand every 50 days. And for total annual cost for new Q*, we will get $122.47 for 1,500 demand. At only 2% less than the total cost of $125 when the order quantity was 200. EOQ answers the how much question for Andy business. Now how about when to order? The reorder point, ROP, can answer the question. This is formula for ROP, demand per day multiplied by lead time for a new orders in days. Then we need to find D, demand per day, by dividing annual demand with number of working days in a year. Now let's continue to reorder point curve. We start with optimal number of units per order. This stock is replenished as order arrives. And this is the slope that we depleted, units per day, D. When we need to make sure the stock is replenished as we depleted, there was a certain lead time, L, that is associated with our ordering process. Lead time is the time between placement and receipt of an order. This is ROP points where we have to place the order the head of when we actually need it to satisfy our demand during the lead time. This reorder point example for Andy's stationery business. If Andy have 8,000 stationery demand per year, with 250 working days in a year, and having lead time for orders is 3 working days, may take 4. We need to find D first by using this formula, and we will get 32 units. For ROP, we will using this formula, and we will get 96 units before reordering, if lead time for orders is 3 working days. And we will get 128 units before reordering, if lead time for orders is 4 working days.